Trying to find a spot where the light isn't reflected in the glasses, but it's very difficult to find that spot. Anyway, what if I just put my hands over my eyes? Let's take them off, because I find it very disconcerting. It's a glare to me on my camera screen. So I've had some thoughts. Sorry for missing yesterday. I didn't really get anything Dollhouse-ish done, or anything really practical, probably, other than dance class. So I hope you don't mind that that's what I shared with you yesterday. It's not very Dollhousey at all. But I'm loving it, and I want to share it. I had some thoughts. I have this ladder that has to go into the library that I decorated the other day. So I'm going to make some garland for it, and I thought I might try to give a little tutorial, if that's all right with you guys. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. We'll see what happens. How to make some garland. So I have another thing. I have two ways that I did it this week for the library. I used these things, which I think I've used in every dollhouse that I've made as my greenery, because it's just worked. I've used, like, that's a year's worth of greenery that I've been making my way through. So I use these things, or I used these things. Now, how did I use these things? Well, I tore them off their stem, and that's great for, like, reusing for greenery somewhere else. So same here, pull that one off the stem. There's 3 I can use, and there's this darker colored one. Same idea, if I can. My arthritis is a bit bad today in my hands, I think, from swinging around poles. So I take these, and I'll just cut all the way around it to turn it into like a long strip of paper, fabric, whatever it is. And let's use my better scissors for it. Are they better? Not a lot, but that's what I'll use. So this is what I do. And that gives me a long piece to work with. So I'll do the same over here. Oh yes, that's right. I can't go in any further with that. There you go. Just cutting them in a circle, basically, round and round, like you would be cutting like a spiral. And it doesn't have to be exact at all. And if you happen to cut it along the way and shorten it, that doesn't matter either. None of it really matters. There we go. So once you got your strips, I'm going to hopefully make 2 separate garlands. And so I want this one leaf to be in both. Make sure I've got my bits laid out so I know what I'm doing. There's one, there's one, there's one. That should work. So I'm going to cut this down in half. Keep them together. Now, the next thing I do with it is I fringe the edges. So I just make little snips all the way along the edges. And doing the first side, it's fairly easy. It's when you do the other side and you're trying not to cut the thing down, because look, I've made a big snip there. So trying to not cut it down too small when I fringe the other side is when it can get a bit difficult, but I should be all right. And then the other side. To make sure my snips are going in the right direction, I have to turn it over so each time a different side is up. Let's put this a bit lower. So just trying to make sure it don't intersect with my other cuts on the other side. Hopefully this is making some sense to you. There you go. I've got a long piece with fringes on both sides. So I have to do that with the rest of them. So there is really no way you can make a mistake with this. If you cut it too short, if you put your fringes in the wrong direction, it doesn't matter. You can't really mess it up. And you'll see now why. I'm going to wrap it around wire. I have an affection for Garland because it was my dad's name. And such a lovely festive name. If we had had another kid, he might have been a Garland. So making Garland just always makes me think of my dad. Just gives me an excuse to say his name. Awesome. Once you've got all your garland fringed, I have two different piles of it. I have this really long one, these shorter ones, and this one. All right, then you get your wire. This one is really tangled, and so for ages now, I've just been snipping bits, so I'll just grab a loop and snip it. And so rarely can I find an end, but there's one. But if you look, you can't see any ends for how much I've butchered it, which makes no sense to me. All right, for cutting that, I want to use my older scissors. So I'm going to cut. No, I'm just going to pull it from somewhere else so I can get it longer. All right. Who knows where those ends will go. So I've got a piece. I'd say that's about as long as my arm. How am I going to do this? I think what I'll do, because I have two different colors, is that I'll snip them. And I'll start with this one and work that into it, the darker green in at different points. So I take my wire end, I take my fringed leaf end, and I take the wire and I just wrap it around the fringe. Wrap it a bunch of times, as tight as I can, so that they're good and secured. You can tuck that end in if you want, and then you wrap it, basically. So you're wrapping them together. Between the cut on my finger and the arthritis in my wrist, I'm very unhandy. There we go. All right, and then you wrap. Just like that. All the way along, you come to the end, and you wrap your wire around that bit again. Like that. And there you go. You have just a simple piece of garland there. And I'm going to add this one. Same idea. Take the end of it like that. Good Lord. You take the end of it like that. Wrap this thing, wrap the wire around it. Doesn't have to be tidy. Doesn't have to be pretty. It'll be pretty in the end. Trust me. And then, again, wrap your garland around the wire. Just like that. And wrap your wire around the end of the leaf. There you go. Bit of garland. Now, I'm going to work these pieces in at random. So, I might even cut it shorter. Right? So I'm going to come back with my wire. Bend my wire back down like that. Begin wrapping again. Wrapping two of them around each other. And then I'll come to a place where I want to use my other green leaf. I just wrap that. Take the tip of it like that. And wrap this around it a few times, so it's nice and tight. And do the thing you did before, where you're just wrapping the leaf here around the wire. Come to the end of it, wrap it a few times, and then you just want to wrap that around the garland that you've made. Now, you could use lots and lots of these and have a thicker garland if you wanted to. Come a bit further. Grab another bit of this. Same idea. I'm wrapping the wire around the end. Does this make any sense? This is clear as mud. Wrap it a few times, then wrap the leaf around the wire. You come to the end, wrap it around a few times, so you've got your two separate pieces there, and then you wrap those together like so. Now, if you run out of wire, you just add more. So I will just cut some more. Right? I've got those two pieces there, two ends. I'm just adding more to it. I'm just twisting them together. Right? So you've got your little bunny ears. Then I'll just fold the bunny ears over and twist them on each side. So it looks like that. Then I'm going to come along a bit further. Same idea. So I'll show you again. You've got your piece of garland that you've made. You've rewrapped your other piece of wire back along it, adding in your different colored greens. I have the last leaf. I'm just going to put it in there, essentially, between the legs. Hold it there. Wrap the wire around it on one end. Give it a squeeze. Make sure it's in tight. So you've got that end of your leaf is attached now. And you're just wrapping your leaf around the wire. You got a little bit left. Wrap wire around the leaf, then wrap both of them together. And you can come down to the end there with your wire. Give it another good wrap. There you go. A piece of garland. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it around. I'm going to go in through each hole in the ladder and wrap it around each leg or each side of the ladder. You could make like a table centerpiece with it by just folding it down. Basically, I did one by making it into a bow. Did a few loops, wrapped the end around, and then turned all my loops into points. And it sort of looks like, see? So if you do that with each one of your loops, you get like a sort of looks like bushy branches. But that's not what I'm doing with this one. I'm leaving this one long, like that. I would also take this point to add things to it. So I've been using these red flowers. They're a bit big, so I'm going to cut them down. I'll just pull the end off of it, and you can see. And then I'm going to cut it in 2 bits, like that. Right? You can see that. I'm just going to wrap it around, wrap the wire around it a couple times. And there you've got a little bow. Do the same again. That. So the next thing I'm going to do, I've got my ladder. This is the bottom part with the beads because they're supposed to, I'm pretending they're rollers. Take the ticky tack off of it. You know, it is longer, but that's okay because I'm going to wrap it around a few times. So I'm starting at the bottom. And I'm just going to go in through the holes. Maybe not every hole, maybe every second one. Add a few of these down. and poke them in there. Stuck in like that. So that's the idea. And that's all stuck in. You could glue it in if you wanted it to be permanent. I've just wedged them all in. And when the other side's done, I think it'll be a good effect. I think it'll work. That's one way to make garland. The other is quite simple, really. I feel a bit silly even showing you. So for this one, I'm using the little plastic stems. These ones, there's 4 on a stem. So I'm cutting them off. So you've got all your little stems there. Again, with the wire, let's see if I can find an end. Do you see an end? It's amazing to me. I definitely don't see an end. Even though, oh, there's one. Can I, there we go. You take our piece of wire, and it's basically the same idea. So I'm going to hold them end to end like that, essentially wrapping the wire around the plant a few times, and to go over and under the leaves. So I hope you can see that. I've basically wrapped the wire almost in like figure eights around the leaves so it doesn't slip off. And you want to maintain that the whole way along. So now, then I'm going to fold the wire down and wrap it around the end, wrapping that bit of wire in with it. Does that make sense? I hope so. What you're going to do next, you're going to pick up another piece. You're going to go lower down the branch on this one. So you'll go down so like the middle leaves are connecting to the bottom leaves on this one. And these all have 3 layers of leaves each. So that leaves you your bottom bit of the first one, the bottom bit of the new one. You're going to wrap the wire around both. So around the bottom. Sorry, I'm finding it a bit fiddly. So you're going from the bottom of this, of the first one, you're wrapping around both. You could go higher if you wanted, if you just want to be more secure. That's what I'm going to do because I'm feeling on handy. So that connects them together. You have your next piece. You want your bottom leaves on this one to be on the middle leaves of the new one you're adding. And then if you can get hold of all of the leaves that you've already wrapped. Does this make sense? And you wrap them together over the leaves, then you can come down and go under. And any way you wrap, I mean, really, is no right or wrong way to do this. But as you see, it's getting a bit thicker there now. Same thing, bottom of this one, bottom of the one you just added, leaves go next to the middle leaves of the new one you're adding. So when you're done, when you run out of wire, you can add more wire, like I showed you before, or you can just wrap it off there between the last two, the exact same way, just don't add a new piece. And you can wrap it around the bottom. And then you've got fairly secure bit of garland. Now, with the last one, I did the decorating where I just stuck it sort of in. This one, I'll show you how to decorate by wiring things on. So just cut yourself some bits of wire like this. So like here, you could fill it out. So you could take another piece and fit it in somewhere, move the leaves out of the way, take your other piece of wire, just wrap it around, wire that bit in. I would go down to the next one like you did when you were adding them on to the end. And then you could make it thicker by adding pieces in. You could also take one of the flowers. Let's take 3 of them. You've got 3 of them. You can just pinch them all together like that. There's the center, sort of into a little point. And just wrap your wire around it. Nice and tight. Give it a few twists. So you got it there like that. And then you take those wires, you just find a place on where you want it, on your bough, on your garland. Pull back the leaves so that you get a bit of stem where you can put it like that. And then you just wire it in. Stick it on, twist the wire around. You can fold the wire in along the stem if you'd like, but that one's pretty simple to wire them in. So like here I've got a bauble. And it's the same idea. I've got my piece of wire. Luckily I've got a little loop there I can put it through. Let's give it a twist so it stays on, and that goes in anywhere. Same idea, make a space on the stem where you can stick it and wire that in just like that. Twist it. And there you go. I mean, you could turn it into a little wreath by connecting the ends. You could add a bunch together and do a banister with them, or you could across the top of a fireplace. You could do almost anything. You could also do the same thing where you could pinch the ends together to sort of make it look like the end of a bough. So there's lots of options. All right. I've just done a tutorial. It's probably not very good, But I hope I taught you something, and that you can now maybe go and make your own festive little garlands. As always, thanks for watching.